Pick a limb, settle in, let the story begin. Make yourself home while we wander and roam. We stay on one branch or we leap to the next, following the trail through the simple and complex. Just father and son, having some fun. Follow the trail, see where it leads. A little wonder is all that you need. Chasing the light on a squirrely ride.
And welcome back to Squirrel Trails.
Hi there, folks.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
It's been a few weeks. It's been
2 weeks.
2 weeks. Yep. I mean, we've had some.
Last week got a little more interesting than we like, some family challenges, so we worked through those.
Yep. And then the week prior, we had more family challenges.
Yep.
Yep. So yeah. Been 2 weeks. So how has your 2 weeks been? Well, real quick.
Yep.
Before we get that. So this video, we're going to change things up a little bit. So I'm going to tell you kind of what we're doing before we start the introduction.
And you guys get to find time the same time I do.
Yeah. So today we're going to be talking about kind of what I see as a hidden wage gap between white collar and blue collar.
Okay.
So because again, I'm graduating from welding class, so
Yep.
Going into the blue collar line of work,
Right.
And looking at the IT industry and their wages
Okay.
versus the blue collar wages, and some disparities that I don't think are like there on purpose, but it's just kind of interesting to me.
Okay.
And
we can
so
certainly talk about
I
it.
thought I'd bring it up to you because you have been around in the white collar industry for a while.
45 years.
And it's long enough. So almost too long.
According to my boss, yes.
And your wife. But yeah, so that's what we're going to talk about today. We're looking at paychecks. So with that.
So there may not be a show next week because we may not be talking to each other at the end of this. So
Very true.
we'll see how this goes.
So before we get there, how has your 2 weeks been?
Good. Pretty much Taekwondo driven because I had districts last weekend.
Yep.
So I've qualified for 5 events.
Okay.
Could have been 6, but I'd been working too much to actually practice the way I should have.
Oh, okay.
So qualified for weapons, traditional weapons.
Yep.
Creative weapons form, creative form, extreme weapons form. No, I don't shoot anybody, and nor does anything come flashing out of that. It just means I move really fast with the weapon.
Yep.
And then extreme form, which means I move real fast and have to do some kind of a gymnastic move like a roll or something like that.
Sure.
So that'll be fun.
And your age moving fast is that kind of interesting.
Yeah, fast is an entertaining term at my age. It's
You're
not
right.
the same thing as the 14-year-old.
You're right. Yeah, right.
More like the 2-year-olds.
Yep. The 2-year-olds, 12-year-olds are moving at the Jetta, and you're moving at the geometrical speed.
Yes. So, although it is fun, I will say that because I got 3 guys in my ring, when we get done, the guys.
You also think you were still alive?
Yes. Hey, we start.
How's my heart rate?
we actually start each event with, especially sparring, get together, we look at each other, we all go to work on Monday.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
don't
you're-
kill
at
me
your
on the
age,
mat.
I'm surprised that you're all
Yeah,
working.
well, actually, one of them's retired, so he doesn't actually have to say that. But so there's 2 of us. One's mid-60s. I'm more than
Over 60?
mid-60s.
Yep.
Yeah. Next year I go into the 70-year-old ring. So
Okay. Nice. Fun.
yeah, that'll be fun.
Yeah.
So how about you had some entertainment last week?
It's been a entertaining 2 weeks.
Yep.
Kids are kids.
Kids are
and
kids. They get
Things
ill.
happen. They get sick. So anyways, and then last week
Yep.
it's been a week. But besides that,
Yep.
I did pass my pipe certification for stick.
Okay.
And I graduate from welding school this Friday, the 19th.
2 o'clock.
2 o'clock. Well, technically 2:30.
2-3. Okay.
Graduation's at 2:30. Everybody comes in at 2 o'clock.
Okay.
It should be very long.
Okay.
So, yeah. And I think I walk away with like 10 different certifications, 9, 10 certifications.
Nice.
So super happy I got that part.
You probably would have gotten the other two if you hadn't had you damaged your eye.
Yeah. Welding, TIG welding and only looking out of one eye is
it's not going to work.
Not so good. So
Don't see many one-eyed welders.
no. Especially new welders.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. So with that out of the way, now that I'm looking at job stuff, we're looking at like what is a 1 year welder blue collar job coming out of school versus what a IT professional white collar job, maybe even not even IT, but just white collar job.
Well, I think you want to draw a distinction between, what is. There are some white collar jobs that don't require as much skill set or knowledge.
Yep.
And they don't get paid as well.
Yep. So let's separate that.
Yeah.
So what I'm looking at for kind of in my head, breaking things down is white collar jobs that require some schooling or certifications.
I think that's a great way of calling it.
Is the teller at a bank a white collar job?
Yes.
Yes. Do they need a certification?
No.
No. Do they need a college degree?
No.
No. Is that job important? Yes. But so that's not what I'm looking at are like certifications or a 2 to 4 year degree in something.
Yes.
Same thing with a blue collar job.
Yep.
Looking at the electrician or a welder, even construction, not generally just the construction guy, the labor helper, but the guy that comes out with a 2 year degree in framing or whatever construction guys do.
Yep. Interestingly enough, when I was growing up, they didn't do a 2 year degree for that. And that was because that's
you
a change.
You learned it
while you were doing it.
Yes.
An apprenticeship program was an apprenticeship program. You rolled right out of high school into that apprenticeship program.
So like the union job that I'm looking at getting has a 4 year apprenticeship program.
Yep.
Back then, probably, I wouldn't need to have any welding experience.
Nope.
I could get in on that apprenticeship program and then learn on the job.
Right.
Same thing with electrician. But again, this is where kind of things have changed over the years.
It has.
I think the issue that I see is that those things have changed, but incomes really haven't changed outside of the natural increase in wages overall. So let's kind of break this down. So for blue collar jobs, just out of schooling, income basing what I've seen is somewhere between $40,000 to like $60,000 a year.
Yeah, right in there.
So kind of depending on kind of the electrician, welder, or plumber, or
depends if it's union or non-union. The hourly rate may be the same, but the benefits.
So actually, no. So for the union, for at least for welding, I can go get a job on a shop floor, $22 to $28 an hour, $30 an hour.
Okay.
A union job, we're starting closer to 25 to 35.
Sure, you're going to start higher.
You're going to start higher, just because again, those wages are based. Union wages are based on. Holy crap! I can't think of the word.
Prevailing wage.
Nope. What's the master welder?
Okay, we're on recording, so figure this out in a hurry.
Yeah. So anyways, So
there's a scale.
There's a scale, and it goes up, which is set in stone. Where a shop job, there really is no scale.
Yeah, it's all negotiated in theory.
And so, but white collar jobs coming out of school is anywhere from 40 to 80,000.
For a college,
for
somebody with a 4-year degree.
Yes.
In the field.
Yep.
And so.
Even a help desk,
4-year degree. Well, if you're, you mean computer help desk?
Yep.
Okay. So, and I would say most of those are probably tech school graduates for the most part. They're not 2-year degree.
They're the 2-year degree versus 4-year degree.
Right. Sure. So that's one of those things to think about.
But even they're making more than the electrician out of a 2-year degree.
Yes.
So, and why are these things? Why do IT jobs make more money than blue collar jobs? And we talked a little bit over the weekend.
We
about
talked
this.
a bit about the weekend, but we can go back and revisit some of
Yeah.
that. But let's walk into that and say, what is the what is the market driver for that? I mean, what is the if I'm hiring somebody to be a technical help desk person, tier 1, tier 2
Yep.
kind of help desk person,
Tier 1.
how much do they need to know? And I would say because there's a couple of things. I'm hiring somebody as a tier 1 with the expectation that they're going to get to a tier 3 or tier 4.
It's usually how you hire people anywhere.
Yeah, because you get in. I mean, if I as hiring a entry level staff auditor.
Yep.
Then go to that one. It's pretty easy. 4-year degree. Know what that is. I have certain expectations of that job, and there's a lot of people that don't qualify for that.
Sure.
And they can't get that. So there becomes that give and take between what do I need to know, or what do I as a hiring manager, maybe that's part of the conversation, feel they need to know.
Sure.
Versus what you need to have to become an entry-level welder.
So there are some limitations, I think, right?
Yep.
I be honest, I think that same qualifications is also in the blue collar.
Can be.
Just a different mindset.
So let's walk through this a bit. You got a degree in web development at one point in time.
I did,
2-year
yes.
degree in web development.
Yep.
You got your web development certificate. What did you have to learn to do that?
Coding. Front end, back end, logic. Yep.
So you had to be able to, as a part of that, you actually went through some design work.
Sure.
You went into solving the logic problem, those kinds of things to do that
100%.
work.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say, and there is a historical impact to that. 40 years ago when I was in the field,
Yep.
there weren't a lot of people that were willing to do that.
Sure.
And that sets some very basic expectations in the field.
Okay.
Is that there were, that whole learn to code thing, there were a lot of people that didn't want to learn to code.
Oh, sure.
And that drove, so there were some market components.
Again, computers back then, that wasn't going to be a thing.
Yeah.
Kind of like AI right now is not going to be a thing.
6, 7?
Yeah. don't even throw 6, 7 at me. 7, 8, 9.
Sorry, we got kids.
Yep. But were people not getting in the trades because, okay, we're gonna step back.
Okay.
You threw me off with the 6, 7. Thank you, I appreciate it.
Here to help.
Yeah, breathe. So let's take a look at kind of. So yeah, I had to learn those logic things.
Yep.
Do those not apply? Do those logic kind of thinking doesn't apply to the electrician?
Electricians, it probably does more than most fields, and that's why the electricians, at least when I grew up, electricians and plumber were and welding as well,
100%,
are the highest or higher paid in the fields because they have some of those.
And so that's where the IT professional versus the clerk, white collar job, pays more.
Yeah, we pull that clerk out of that conversation.
And this is where we're kind of pulling out the construction worker because there's some of that blue collar stepping stones. And I'm not trying to step on anybody's toes.
I was going to say, laborers and you can't do your job
100%.
or you can't do your job without carpenters.
Definitely.
It's a system.
Same thing. I need the HR department to do a great job.
Yes,
so there are those things. I don't want to.
Yeah, we're not trying.
I'm not trying to step on his toes. I may by accident. I'm not doing it on purpose.
Okay.
And if I do, I apologize. So, but So I need as a IT web developer, I need to have those certain skills. But the electrician
Right.
is going to have those same kind of logic skills that me as a programmer
Right.
won't know, or the coder won't know.
And I'm going to back that up a bit. And this may be where we require too much. Now, that being said, I personally don't feel that for a number of these jobs, you should require a college degree.
Sure.
I think that's a misnomer in my field that is going away.
Yeah, and having more of a certification style education, for sure.
Yeah, I will say, however, in the audit field, that ability to write and compose and kind of classical liberal arts training
Yep.
that you get out of college is critical to be successful in that field.
Okay.
Doesn't mean I need to have it entry level, but
Sure.
you're going to be successful. You need to have had that skill. So, but that's not true for all IT fields.
Sure.
The further you go up in the field, the more you need to be able to do that.
Yep.
I mean, we had an incident at the bank where we got a guy that is needing to write something that's going to go to all the customers to explain something that happened.
Yep.
Need to have that skill set to do that.
Yep.
But so, and I think that's where a component of this fits, is how broad a skill set do you need to have? I mean, so welder's an example.
Yep.
Do you need all 16 certifications to do your job?
No.
No. Are you going to potentially make more with all 16 certifications? No. Not initially.
Nope, not at all.
Right. On the other hand, do you become more marketable?
Yes.
And I think that's one of the challenges is that marketability. If you do underwater welding,
Yep.
will you can make more?
Yeah, for sure. There's a risk.
There's a risk component.
Yep.
And very few people learn that skill.
Yes.
And that's a component of this. How many people are learning skill? One of the reasons welders make the money they do now is that there are fewer people that do that.
Sure.
That then go into electrical, because it's hot, sweaty, dangerous. Work.
Yep.
And that's a driver to that component. So
wouldn't that be they should make more than the IT professional?
But on the IT professional side of the house, I need to know a bit of cryptology. I need to understand the logic of systems. I need to understand how networks work.
So your web developer has to know cryptology.
They don't have to. Because they have to apply. You should have learned some components of applying certificates into your code.
We're not going to master. We're not going to.
No, you're not going to master that.
Certifications in logic.
But if you'd taken, think about the network plus certificate, because you studied.
I studied that. Yep.
And so there was encryption within that.
Sure.
There were questions that you
Basic
had
information.
that you had to have to do that. So in your class for web development, you came out with a good understanding of networks, because I remember dragging you through that.
Yep.
Which you really did. You did that well, and you were, in all honesty, you were an A student. During that whole process.
A honor roll student. Yeah.
You're
surprised all of us.
Yeah, me too. I was one of them surprised. Damn, why couldn't you do this in high school?
Right.
So you had that. You had databases that you learned.
Yep.
You learned, straight up web coding.
So let's take a step, because I think you're jumping too far.
All right.
So that first year student.
Yep.
Is good. He's not going to have certs and everything.
No.
He's going to have basic understanding.
We are seeing more people. I mean, gal that I know coming out of a college degree.
Yep.
She's got Network Plus, and I think she's planning on taking Security Plus before she gets her bachelor's degree.
Again, and this is where people are looking at certs more than degrees.
Yes, absolutely.
And this is for the blue collar. They're again certs versus degrees.
Yeah, I'm not sure how many certs there are in plumbing and electrical.
There's actually quite a few.
Okay.
And same thing with plumbing, or same thing with electric. And you got to get approved by the state to even be.
Not to be an electrician, to be
a licensed electrician.
To
yes,
be a licensed
but electrician. Again, you need to have the basic understanding.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the distinctions we have to get into. Is in many cases that licensed electrician.
But coming out of a 2-year degree,
Yep.
you should be a licensed electrician.
Okay.
Because
I'll take your word for it, but I don't know that.
all it is a certification test.
Okay.
And if they're coming out, if you're not coming out of a 2-year degree with a license to do the job, I'd be again. It's like coming out of welding school.
And that was.
Let's say coming out of welding school with no certifications.
Yeah.
So
because that's, and again, I'll go back to my age when I was in the late 70s. You had some people, but you didn't have to be certified in the field.
Can I get a job as a help desk job, making $40,000 a year with no certs?
Yes.
Okay. And I go be an electrician with no certs and make $20 an hour.
Which is $40,000 a year.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yep. And then as we move up, be an electrician. So I was taking, the bigger thing is looking at the 10-year gap.
Okay.
And why someone like my brother can make close to 90,000.
Yep.
Where me coming out 5 years later, half that. Well, 60,000, 80,000.
Probably 80,000. So it's pretty close to it. So it's not as much, but pretty close.
So, but there's more risk on my end. The risk gap.
So the risk of performing the job.
Yes. Well, and the risk of performing the job and the risk of products. What I do, I think what people that make things with their hands and have a physical product.
Yep.
Why do those jobs pay less than jobs that have no physical product outside of a website, which could be considered a physical product? But
so this gets a bit entertaining, but let's go through this. So if I'm a developer or I'm a security professional, let's go security professional. What am I providing in that job? So what is the risk that I'm managing?
Yep.
So now, and I will say, working in the risk management field, which is even softer, I continue to make the point to the folks I work with, if we're not providing X amount of value in what we're doing, if we're not producing reports that have that value, the company should not have us.
Or at least
nobody talked to my boss about that. But that's a model that we need to have, and to be honest, more CEOs are raising that about groups like risk. What is the value you're actually providing to me?
Yeah.
And that's and I think that's a question that got asked a lot more in the 80s than it was in the
is the value
2010s.
not that there not enough value, but the value is too high, so it should be almost reduced.
So
we're paying. So you guys do good. You guys do a good job.
Yeah.
But that dollar value is too high based on your performance. But we can't drop that.
Well, I would agree they shouldn't drop it because that'll cut my pay. No, I'm kidding. But,
True.
So this is where fair risk kind of comes into play. So if I'm an IT professional in security, is what I'm doing reducing the likelihood of a system failure? And what's the impact of that failure if that were to occur? And that's a conversation that should occur.
Sure.
And to say that, the other side of that is,
And it is the value associated that understanding that.
absolutely, because you're providing, if the company that you're working for, say it's, so let's say you're working at some place like Toro. It's a manufacturing company. So you have people that are manufacturing the product that they're selling. Okay, that's a given salary level that's doing that. And what are the skill sets that are required to do that? Then within a security field, okay, I have potentially, I am in a bet your company kind of job. In that if I screw up, and Target would be the example of that in 2013, because a lot of their IT folks went away after that. they did not have, they ended up costing the company a ton of money because they didn't, interestingly enough, in a fairly small way, failed.
Sure.
And that introduced a ton of risk to the company and actually of exposure and money. So that's that component that says, what is the risk that you're managing? What is the cost? What is the return on investment for that activity?
Yep, and that risk is I don't want to make this sound mean or
Sure.
inappropriate, but monopoly money style way of business risk.
Oh, it always is.
So versus the electrician
Yep.
and the electricians that wire the building.
Wire the building. Yep.
If they wire it inappropriately and start a fire and
Yep.
destroy the building,
Yep.
isn't that a much higher risk? And should be...
Well, it depends. Because it's one building.
Sure, and with people
but-
inside.
Sure. And
Or the bridge that I weld.
Sure.
If that bridge fails because of a weld, and we saw this in Minneapolis,
because it was poorly constructed.
it
wasn't.
It was over time. It was just
over time.
didn't get its maintenance.
Right.
But yes, but it was on welding.
So that actually covers the point. Is that, and I think that's a good call out. Is two things come into play as you progress in both fields. At what point in time are you doing the job effectively and doing it right and doing those things that need to get done? And at what point do you become the engineer who's designing that bridge and saying this is the weld structure that need to exist based upon the engineering aspects of that?
Okay, yep.
And that's generally a white collar job role.
So I was actually taking a look at it, the risk value, the risk, the dollar amount for the risk of people or product loss versus data loss.
So
if I'm in a manufacturing and we mess up on the line for a car, and we for some reason it's they shipped it off a little bit, and we got to recall 20 million cars. I don't know.
Whatever. A number of cars.
I don't know cars, but yeah, a number of cars, right? That's a big dollar amount.
Absolutely.
Is that the same risk or more of a risk than the data loss?
It's a different risk, but
we quantify it differently because data is more important than the physical pieces.
I'm not going to go there because I don't know that we do. So when I have a risk taxonomy in front of me, I have fraud as a risk, which is different than a data loss or a system failure or a operational manufacturing failure. All these things are types of risk.
Sure.
And we want to apply those together.
Yep.
That's not getting, we probably we're going to go way off topic if we do this. Welcome to Squirrel Trails.
Welcome to the channel.
So, but it helps to understand those distinctions. In a manufacturing field or a construction field, I, as the white collar person associated to doing that, say the engineer or something like that, I should be implementing, but the foreman helps with this, to be honest.
Sure.
Is that I should be implementing oversight activities to reflect how I'm managing that and managing that risk. So in a production line, I got somebody that's doing quality control work walking the line that's supposed to be making sure of that.
Definitely.
Now, the reality is, likely when you're getting a recall, it's not due to a manufacturing failure, it's due to a design failure.
Yep.
And that design failure is a white collar job, because that's the engineer.
Yep, that's engineer, yeah.
So that's where a lot of these things, I would say in many cases, the white collar job, not completely, but has a longer tail to the risk that they're dealing with.
Okay.
Because it's going to last longer. That being said, if I have a poorly constructed, and this happens, if I have somebody that doesn't nail in the studs correctly in a building, the building can and may and will collapse. So it's just as important to do that, and that's where foremen come into play to make sure that that work's being done to standard.
Sure.
That's getting into that place. So that function, that's the other component. I mean, the other thing to think about is that, I'm going to say at that 10-year mark is kind of where this happens a lot, is you have that journeyman electrician, master electrician, journeyman welder. I've seen this more in electricians and plumbers that decide to become, they leave the field because they're no longer a plumber, they are the business owner.
Sure.
And you don't see that as much in the white collar side.
Sure. Yeah. Agreed.
So you're seeing some of the numbers when you see statistics can be slid because of that shift of the guys that have that drive to do that work, you might well be one of them, ends up starting their own business to do that work. And so are they at that point in time still counted under the statistics as an electrician, or are they making the money as a business owner?
They're making definitely money as business. Kind of depends on how you look at it with trucking.
Right.
Is the truck making money or the driver making money?
This is one of those questions that come into play.
Yep.
Is that
how much should I charge myself?
Well, and with the trucks, we did that. We did that math.
Or if I'm doing repair work or out of my garage, what do I charge a customer? Hey, I'm going to charge you X amount per hour. And is that based on my view or?
And I think that's the other
likelihood of how I want to do the
That's
job?
the other thing that I think comes into play, especially early to mid career. Actually, all over the field. So I'm salaried and have been salaried for my entire career. So I don't get an hourly wage.
Sure.
Now you could say you take 2,000 hours. It's
You
what I'm
divide it
supposed
down.
to
Yeah,
get.
we have the conversation.
But the reality is, did I work 2,000 hours? Or did I work more than 2,000 hours?
Depends on what you would consider work. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So how many times was I sitting at home at the dining room table doing work on paperwork and that kind of stuff?
Yep.
Because I needed to do that.
But no, you didn't. This is 100%. No. I remember, again, so you don't have to bring your work home.
Sure.
The job would like you to.
Yes.
And this is where my generation and your generation kind of split on because where's that work-home balance, work-life balance. If I'm always bringing work home because I'm salary, then no, I don't want to be salary. I'll just take the hourly job because I don't want to have to bring work home just to stay employed. Because then I should get more money because now instead of working 40 hours a week, I'm working 60 hours a week.
And that was that was always the question within that was, that was a running joke. I could be making at the time $10 an hour or $15 an hour, at the more skilled labor job. To be honest, guys, I can't do a skilled labor job because I can't hammer a nail in straight to save my life. Ask my son. Just 6 months ago over at your old house.
Yeah.
It's like, don't do that. I'm going to do that.
I'll take over.
So let's. There is that component.
Sure.
But there was a running joke. Am I making X amount per hour, or am I actually making about $2 an hour because of all the time I was putting in?
Yep.
That was. You can laugh as much as you want, but that's what it took to keep the job. Because if you want to get promoted, you had to get audit reports done on time. You had to have them to standard. You had to do those things.
So maybe you weren't as good as you were. You couldn't do it inside the 40 hours a week, or
I'll guarantee I wasn't as good as I could have been.
Or the employer was over demanding and giving you way more work than you should have been, knowing hey, they're gonna bring it home because their salary, and we'll make that kind of the unwritten rules. We talked about this last night.
Yeah.
The unwritten rules in the kind of what your job title is or what your job role is.
And I think that's another side of the question that comes into play. you're going to make as potentially as more than your brother's making
Yes.
once you hit the job site, because you're working how many hours a week?
So I'd be working 60 hours a week?
Yep.
Yes.
So should you be working 60 hours a week to do that job?
Yes.
Why?
It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. We aren't just sitting there, okay, how's it going? We don't go, hey guys, we're gonna have a 2-hour conversation about what we're gonna do. Where you guys do.
In my current team, that would be true, but we shouldn't.
Even your other jobs, you still had you had meetings.
Yeah.
Where you weren't performing any work except a conversation.
So why did we have the conversation?
Should you get for work? I can't say, hey guys, let's talk about this weld and have it perform.
Right. So when I'm having a meeting, let's walk through the product that I provide. So when I'm having a meeting with somebody, there's a couple of things that are happening. So I'm planning for the work that needs to get done. And I'm probably going to meet with the staff to do that.
Yep.
Hey, by the way, I would do that in the Army in an infantry unit.
We'll probably do that in the early morning at 4 a.m.
Yep. And there is a management team.
It's going to be there at 3 a.m.
beforehand, or the night before, having done that work.
Yes.
So planning takes time, has to get done.
For welding?
For any job. Well, for most
in
jobs.
class, we make a joke that in welding, welding is only 10% of the job, prep is 90% of the job.
Absolutely. And I would make the case for me to do the audit work, for me to do coding, because I used to code as a part of doing audit work.
Sure.
I would run retrievals, I would recalculate stuff. I had to go meet with people to figure out how does that work. So we have to have that conversation.
Yep.
So the process of exchanging information, talking, technically, exchanging information, or worse yet, reading emails, less effective communication, was important to do that work. Now, do I know groups that do that less efficiently than others?
No.
No, never happened.
No, they all do it great.
The reality is, I was on a call today on a topic where I was like, what do you guys want?
Yeah.
And they hadn't prepped me well enough, so I'm like 20 minutes into a conversation going, got me, I don't know.
And you got paid
that was
time.
3 of us on the phone
Yep.
going, I can't answer your question. I
Sure.
felt really bad about that, but that is, I think, one of the inefficiencies in the field.
Yep.
And well-run companies, well-run teams minimize that. I mean, we're working really hard at minimizing that in our group right now to say, talking isn't per se a product unless you are being paid to talk.
Sure.
I mean, there's been conversations about using me as somebody that could talk about why things could go wrong as a sales function.
Yeah. Yep.
Because I got stories.
Plenty. But again, you've been around longer than dirt, so yeah. Well, you've been longer than not older than dirt. Sorry, almost older than the internet itself.
Actually, that's true.
That's why I changed up.
I predate Gore. Yes. Technically, I don't predate the internet if you think about ARPANET. But yes.
Sure.
All right.
Yep.
Whole other conversation.
What is the internet?
So let's go back to your point, though. Is that I think what you're trying to get to is what is the perceived value?
So what is the perceived value of physical work versus hidden work?
Okay. So in development, so in providing value to the customer.
Okay, I'll break this down real quick. So that's if I'm welding, so we're doing a rocket stove project.
Yep.
Okay. So we manufacture stuff. Okay, we weld stuff, right?
Okay.
That product I have to use the materials and weld, and it takes all the time of materials to make product,
Yep.
right? And for a website or code, most of it I can copy paste.
As long as you know where to grab that from.
As long as you know where to grab it from. And so, but that copy paste is used over and over and over, but is still classified as a X amount of value. It doesn't decrease even though you've used it 30 million times. It's still the same price, versus my physical product stays the same, and because it has the same material, has to be redone every time. It just can't copy paste it.
So let's walk through that a bit. So when you're building something, when you're fabricating something,
Yep.
you're using a design and you're using parts that you have cut to standard.
Yes.
And so you have to do all of that work. But you got a definable, reusable design, because how
Sure.
many of those stoves are you guys making this week?
Oh, well, we're making one, but there are companies that, and I see that they're making 30.
So wait a minute, you've got 7 of you guys making one stove?
No, only 3 of us make one stove.
Okay, so
So-
how many stoves are being made in your class?
One. The
What are the other guys doing?
They're doing a box in a box.
Okay, whatever.
But yes.
Okay, so technically the 3 of you could make 3 different stoves
Yes.
to the same standard.
But we would have to all have. We can't make 3 different stoves unless we each get our own set of materials.
Right, no, absolutely.
The blueprint, sure,
Yeah, so,
but the material.
right. So, but I'm not paying the programmer to rewrite the code every time. I'm expecting that coder to know that what's in his code library, and that becomes a reusable piece of code that he's
So
bringing in.
Microsoft doesn't charge you per user.
Oh, don't get me started now.
This is what I'm talking. So this is that hidden value
Okay.
of IT cost versus labor cost.
So
And maybe I should have thrown that up.
let's talk about what that cost model is then. So
And nothing against
is-
Microsoft. Just throwing it out there.
no.
No.
Okay. Okay. So it's a fascinating question. So when
Oh, hold on, sorry. So TurboTax.
yep.
Okay, that code is copied how many times?
Oh, millions
And it's been done, but it's sold
every year.
every year.
because it changes every
Because
year.
it changes every year. So they program it differently.
Yep.
Okay. But
Different product each year.
that CD, no, not CD.
But they
sorry.
sell
that
the
download.
internet, that download,
Sorry,
whatever it might be.
CD.
They also provide CDs too. I can't get them on floppies anymore.
No.
Damn it.
But yeah, so that
I do have some old TurboTax on 5 1/4 inch floppies, I think.
wow. So okay, again, so
Yes, I'm old.
each download
Yes.
isn't free.
No, they charge $80 a month.
And-
$80 for that. one time.
But essentially they're hitting copy. Stamp copy, stamp copy, stamp copy, stamp copy.
stamp copy, yes.
They're not reproducing it every
Correct.
time for the new customer.
Right.
Whereas physical products,
Yep.
it's a whole. It is not a copy,
Yep.
and so the value should decrease because it's essentially mass produced using the same thing and only the same thing. Where the car,
So let's walk through that. So what does it cost to make a car? What does it cost to make your stove?
roughly $150.
Okay. Because you have a design.
No, that's just the material.
That's in the material. Okay. Well, so then the design was free to you.
Yes,
So somebody came up with a design
Yep,
and they
yep.
were kind enough to provide it to you for free.
we'll call it $10.
Okay, thank you. So when I'm buying TurboTax
Yep.
at anywhere from $80 to $170, depending
Sure.
upon what you're getting, or you get their online version. So
This is where I'm kind of getting on the
yeah,
online
it's-
version, where there's
yeah.
no physical thing at all.
right, but it shouldn't matter. To be honest, shouldn't matter.
Okay.
Because my cost as that small well, not small, it used to be a small business. I remember when TurboTax was a small business, that it was I had to have people research.
Yep.
Meetings.
Yep.
Research tax code.
Sure.
Figure out what that looked like. Start writing the code to do that.
Yep.
Start doing that work. And that was millions of dollars worth of work.
Sure.
To do that,
Yep.
to pull that together, and with the hope that I'm going to sell enough product
Yep.
to recover that cost and make more money.
Sure.
And they did. By the way, not everybody does that. Not all software manufacturers make money.
Sure.
But so there's a hidden cost that you don't see
Correct.
when you buy that $80 product with that downstream. Now, do I think Microsoft has made all their money back?
And this is kind of where my logic head goes of why is there a gap?
Yep.
Because that's the biggest for me. Why is that gap there? Because I understand that yes, they put probably 1,000 people, 20,000, 10,000 people.
Yep.
For TurboTax. I don't know how many.
Probably not that many, but yeah.
10,000, 5,000 people. Okay. For
To simply
a year,
develop the product.
40 hours a week, well, 60 hours a week, depending on how you go, if they're hourly or salary.
Well, if they're, I'll be honest, that's one of those jobs that if it's not working on January 1st,
Yeah.
you don't get to go,
you
damn.
don't go home.
Oops.
Yep. So I understand that. And again, but the labor guy that's making the product is still making the product. He's still there.
Yeah, the guy that's cutting
the little 2-inch nail.
Yep.
That's working the machine.
Yep.
They're doing the thing.
Right.
So is there do blue collar people charge less than white collar people because of the way we think? Because I'm gonna buy a damn box of nails when I get a project, or I'm gonna buy welding equipment.
Yep.
I don't want to pay myself or spend X amount of money because we know it's just for them. But the white collar jobs, corporate's gonna make money versus
They can.
the construction guy
Right.
making money.
So two things come into play. There is clearly that component of, if I'm going to go in as an electrician and sell a job to somebody, I may be sensitive to cost because I'm costing that person standing in front of me that money. And I have that point-to-point negotiation component associated to that. But to be honest, if you're working as a welder that's going to go work at the job site at the power plant, you don't have that.
Nope. But it's
It's a very different kind of a thing.
Yep.
The business owner that's providing you to they're probably making more money than you are.
Yes.
So whoever's doing that, whether it's union, whether it's somebody else, that's because they have a risk component in their job. Not the risk of failure. I have a business risk. So when I worked for a software development company, a very small software development company when you were young, we didn't make. We lost money. The company went under after 3 years, and I was accepting a risk to work for them.
Sure.
Which did cost me a ton of money.
Could they have made more money if your value was less?
Could they
have
made more?
succeeded?
Could they have succeeded if they listened to me better? Probably.
But were you too expensive for them?
No, that wasn't it. The issue was we couldn't.
Sorry, not to.
No. But this is a component that gets into that function. Is to be honest, the guy that had the idea for the software didn't think through enough of what it was going to take to build the code,
Sure.
to do the work, and support the work to do that. So the life cycle of the product was a lot longer. So when you're making the stove, your component is, I've got this done,
Yep.
it's done, and it meets the standard, and I sell this.
Yep.
You might have some risk if the product blows up and burns somebody.
Sure.
But the business leader, I mean, in that case, you would be the business person, has to design for that risk, and that's where my job quite often comes into play.
Sure.
Is what is that risk to do that? Now, is there a perceived value that because I know, don't take this wrong, folks, but I'm just going to say I know a lot of stuff in IT
Sure.
in general.
Yes.
Yeah. Am I an expert in any one field? No. But my background covers the wealth of that,
Sure.
of that field.
And you love reading, so you love more than what you actually.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
how many certifications do I hold?
Yeah, yep. And how many random articles do I used to get?
Yeah.
Because you found it interesting on a topic that wasn't in your field at all? Yeah. That's kind of why we started the channel.
So, true that. I would make a case that the more you learn on stuff outside of your field, the more it comes into that play.
100%. Again, this is.
So,
Yeah.
So let's maybe that's the real distinction between a good white collar worker, professional worker, and that is that desire to know how things work better.
I think there are plenty of truck drivers that love reading.
Yes,
So it's not just white collar people.
But then how do they apply that into their job?
By driving better? Or just. How do you apply the way we. How do you apply some of our conversation to your job?
I've actually used discussions coming out of your challenges as an owner-operator into my job. To say,
That wasn't. Yeah, but you weren't driving.
no, but I was
yeah.
taking the concept to say, okay, so how do we better structure these things? Hey, let me tell you the story
Those
of.
analogies
Yes.
that aren't necessary.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
People, yeah, and
I'm not going to say there weren't people in the room going, eh?
Sure. Yep.
It's just like you guys going, eh, where are they going?
Where's this going?
Okay, so let's try to drive back to that. So there is that perceived value.
Yep.
And I think that's where most wage conversations come into, is that perceived value of somebody that is expected to have a broad skill set or be able to be trained to have a broad skill set. Because when I'm hiring a staff auditor, and I've said this to HR people,
Yep.
I don't expect to have the value from that person the first year and a half.
Sure.
Because I'm training them to do that job. Just like as an apprentice welder,
Yep.
are you welding that first year?
Some.
Yeah,
A little bit.
a little bit.
It kind of depends on the job.
Depends
for,
on the job.
For the union, I may be not welding, but doing other
Yeah, you're
union
doing
work.
other work, right. But you're learning the field.
I'm learning the field. If I was in a shop, I'd definitely weld day
in
one.
that case, you'd be welding day one.
Yep.
But in the Boilermakers Union, as an example, there's a broader skill set that you have to be able to do that job. So in my field,
It's also why there's a 4-year apprenticeship versus your job. There is no apprenticeship. There's a, we'll can you in 3 months if we don't meet up.
Well, yes and no. There's so at the end of 2 years, I would expect them to have, or at least I did as a manager, okay, you're going to have passed this certification field.
What happens if you don't? You don't fire them.
I find them another job typically. Because that was part of the deal, is that if you want to be a senior auditor to meet that next level.
What if they don't? What if they just want to show up and do the job? I know that this is a struggle for you because you love promoting people.
I love
teaching,
developing people.
Developing people.
And when
This
I
is
have
where
people-
this is where sometimes I almost need someone else to talk to you about this kind of stuff because you're about all the development and it's like no, there are people out there that just want to show up, get paid, and leave, and they go to IT field because right out of college I'm making $50,000 a year. And I can show up, do my job, and leave.
So $25 an hour, which you could make driving a truck.
Yes. No. Yes, I could.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's what
Yep, we
Walmart's
talked about-
advertising
yep,
for those.
Yeah, 100%. Yep.
So I think that's one of these challenges that come into play.
But I can move up pretty easily just by doing, not overperforming, but just by showing up and doing the job.
Yeah, no, not in my job.
Okay.
Because if I'm showing up and I'm doing something, you're going to get a relatively small raise, and you're not going to get positioned for that next promotion. Promotions are not guaranteed in the
100%.
in the professional field. That's not guaranteed.
So if I don't want to get promoted ever,
Yep.
I want to show up, do the job, and leave.
Yep.
I don't want any liability with risk. I just want to show up, do the job, and leave. I don't want to manage people. I just want to show up, be told what to do the work, and go. I can work in the IT field.
We're in some IT jobs.
You're saying stay down below and get that 1% bonus every year, or 1% raise every year, 2%.
Maybe. I mean,
As long as I'm meeting my expectations.
Well,
or are expectations require that you must move up in 2 years?
the expectation
Is there an expectation or is it my contract?
Because you're holding, well, it's not in your contract, but it doesn't make any difference. You're holding a slot. Let's be absolutely honest. You're, as that IT professional that decided, I don't want to develop, I'm just going to sit here at this job. You're holding a slot that I can't hire somebody else into that has that desire to grow, that, damn it, I need people that are going to have that skill set because I'm going to retire.
Sure.
So
But you also are hiring 40 people, 50, 60, 100 people
no.
across a...
I'm going to hire a broad set, but there are relatively, I can only accept in any field a relatively small number of, hey, I'm just showing up to get a paycheck and be gone. Because at that point in time, you're going to have
Are there
conversations
help desk people?
that are just sitting at so at help desk.
Again, I know. We talked about different roles for
Yeah.
IT for white collar jobs.
Yeah.
But
Okay, so there are. But they are, at some point in time, I'm saying, okay, granted, you're going to have that role. Because that goes to the bank teller. I know people have been bank tellers their whole life.
yep, but that's not a job that requires a degree.
Correct.
So, but there are IT jobs that require a degree. That
And I would make a case that if you've decided to spend the money on a degree, because at $60,000 of debt, you're not paying that back.
well, you
You're
are
not
after
progressing.
you are once you retire.
So now, because I think that's the other side to this, is that there's an economic thing
Yep.
that says I need to make more money.
So, okay.
And the fact that, hey, I don't want to work any more than 40 hours a week. I don't want to learn any more.
I think this is
You
the-
should just pay me more.
I think we're going down a wrong rabbit hole. Because again, we could talk about.
So, but I can do that in your job as a welder.
Sure.
Can I do that?
Yes.
Okay.
I can go at a shop, and probably not the union jobs.
Yeah.
But definitely at a shop.
Yep.
I can just show up, weld, and leave.
Yep. And so, and that's not a bad thing. Let's be honest.
No, it's not.
We,
Yeah,
we
yeah.
need people
I mean-
to do that kind of job too.
Yep.
So, I mean, there are people sitting on production lines that have been doing that for
20 years, 30
20
years.
years on
Coming up on 30 years and going.
done-
Yep.
yep, on classical Detroit job. Well,
Yep.
it used to be Detroit, but
Yeah,
that classical Detroit job where that you came in and you just did that.
Production line,
Absolutely.
and yep, you retired after 30 years. Yep.
You know,
for sure.
assembly lines.
Assembly line stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. I think
But
we
again,
should-
those jobs didn't require any really skill from a college degree or a
Sure.
two-year degray.
It depends on the job,
But
but generally
depends on the
not.
job, yeah, yep.
Some might
Some
require.
maybe a little bit, yeah.
Yep.
So okay, but, we're gonna step back a little bit because I think we're going way down a rabbit hole that we, yeah, down that path with dragons and a lot of what ifs. But because IT in general or white collar jobs are
And I don't want to tick off HR people.
100%, nope.
that's-
they're included, but their jobs are conversational and hidden with a
Well,
not a product. The end product is hidden.
So I
Versus
wouldn't say
where-
conversational. I'd say analytical.
Analytical. Okay, sure. Analytical.
Because that's their
Definitely, yes.
end product is
End
the
product,
analysis that they've
analysis
done.
and
So it's
analysis
not about
paralysis, for sure.
Yes, there are. So, and this is where good management structure comes into play. Is how do I say, okay, you're done talking about it, you're done writing about it, give me the product today.
Yes. Yep.
And if today means 4 o'clock tomorrow morning before I come in,
Yep.
that's okay.
Sure.
But that's happened to me.
So
Like 3 weeks ago.
a report is worth X amount of dollars.
Should be if you've designed it right.
So, is that a value that customers aren't buying,
No.
but corporate spending,
Yes.
and that's why you're getting paid as much as you are because that product cost. That product cost versus most blue collar jobs are
Yeah.
an actual physical product every time.
What if your blue collar job isn't building something? What if your blue collar job is inspecting?
Inspectors? Yep.
So, because
And again, that report is
Yep.
for sure.
yeah, so that comes into play.
Yep.
Now the inspectors may actually make more money than that component. The guy that's
Yeah.
a building inspector hopefully makes more money than the electrician.
So hopefully you're making more money than the guy
Well,
that code you're
let
looking
me
at.
rephrase that because making more money is the wrong answer. Is the building inspector? What are the skills, knowledge, and items that they? Because in theory, a wage should be your exchange of knowledge, skills, talents.
This is where kind of the underlining thing
Yeah.
is that I'm trying to get down to digging
this
into.
is
that
this is
what-
7th grade junior achievement.
what knowledge base
Yeah.
is worth what?
Now,
And
that's a great conversation.
And so this is where
That's a
it's
great
hard, and I'm
conversation.
trying. It's hard to quantify
Yep.
and talk about coding this or welding this is worth X amount of dollars. And this is where
So a coder is providing a product of value.
Sure,
The
yes.
guys that wrote TurboTax absolutely provided a product of
100%.
value. Just no different than the welder or the electrician.
definitely.
That's that, or plumber, or I'm going to say the guy that digs a ditch.
Yep.
Because I had jobs where I dug a ditch before.
Yep.
In Arizona, in the middle of the desert. Sucked.
Was it cold?
No wish. We were up before sunrise. We were on the job site before you could see inside the container.
Just so it would say cool because
Yeah, it was. Yeah, we were up.
you guys
before-
left at 2 o'clock because it was.
It wasn't healthy to be out there anymore.
Yep,
So,
I understand.
Dude, I don't care what the boss said. We were going home because we were up there 3, 4 in the morning.
Yeah, yep.
Doing the work. And I'm not going to say that we didn't fill the shower up with dirt.
Yeah.
After we got on a job site, but so yes, I do get this. I've worked construction.
Yep.
But so you provide that product, and so that product has to have value. I would say every IT field. I mean, that's actually conversations that we are having right now in many of the IT fields, and this is where you go up and down.
Yes. Pay scales go up and down.
Well, it's not that the pay scales go up and down. It's how many people you're hiring.
Oh, sure. Okay.
Because if you're not providing that value, that job got. I've seen internal audit groups go away.
Yeah.
Because that internal audit group wasn't providing value. And so it got outsourced
Sure.
to what do I need to have with somebody, with a provider that actually did need to provide that value.
Sure.
So when I was a per hour consultant as an auditor, I darn well had to provide that value that they were expecting.
Yeah.
Now, what was that value? So, and I think that's where you're trying to get into is how do I justify that what I am providing is $60 to $80 an hour, or $100 an hour,
Yeah.
as case could be. Am I actually providing that return on investment?
Why can't I ask for more money versus it's easier for white collar jobs to ask for more money?
Yeah, until you get to the point where it's like we're not doing it.
Well, I mean, yeah. Again,
There's a perceived
because you're
value.
making $100 an hour,
Right.
versus
So, well, no.
master welders not making $100 an hour.
No, they're not.
They should, because they have way more knowledge than the coder. I mean, they're
The coder's not making $100 an hour.
no,
either.
but coder's not coder. What would a job about? What equal? If I was to take a
So I think
master
this
electrician,
is-
master.
So this is the distinction I think you want to try to understand is that not somebody that is doing, I'm going to say conceptually challenging coding isn't somebody that's like coming right out of school. And the
Yeah,
guy coming
sure.
right out of school that is doing that work isn't being assigned the complex, challenging coding job that's needing
Yeah.
to manage. Say they're doing a website, that I have to think about all the security components with that. I have to think about the efficiencies. Did I load the right privacy statements on there? You know, all of these things that
Yeah.
should be built into the JIRA tickets that are coming out. These are your requirements.
Yep.
And do that work. Are all of them doing that work? Probably not. Are all the welders meeting that higher level standard you think of? They should be.
They had to. I mean,
well, if they're being certified, yes.
Well, not only that, but I mean, if their welds are getting almost, depending on the job, welds are getting X-rayed. They're getting
Yeah,
looked at.
absolutely.
Every step is getting looked at.
Right.
Versus,
and that's the way it should
Yep.
work
Yeah, 100%.
in a well-constructed
well,
control environment. Because I get
there's
to
a more
design
risk.
them.
I mean, there's more
There's different risks.
different risk.
And I think this is the nature of the job. So when you're driving truck, you can absolutely see the risk every mile you're on the road.
Yeah.
That literally every decision you make, moment by moment, involved a risk decision as to make that turn, go that speed,
Yep.
take that load,
And that
component within that.
and
work.
that risk I can't raise based on experience.
No, because it's providing a value.
Yep.
So
that risk has a percentage or an actual dollar amount.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
And I think so you had to be able to do that, and this is one of those questions that come into play. Are you a better driver at 20 years than you were 2 years in?
Hopefully,
Why?
experience.
Okay, so why
knowing-
should I
and
give
knowing the roads,
why
I
should
mean-
I give you a load at 2 years in?
Why should you get a job at 2 years in?
Well, because I'm trained to do that job.
Yep.
But that's
I'm also trained to drive.
Well, no, I got
got
it.
the
But
license.
this is one of those things that comes into play. Do I assign should I, as somebody providing a load, hey, the Supreme Court decision comes into play.
Yep.
It's the dead of winter.
Yep.
It's icy roads.
Yep.
Do I put somebody with should I
1 year or less experience versus a
driving through northern Minnesota
Yep.
on an icy road?
what's the risk value? And what's the dollar amount?
And
and-
up to now, there's been little for the product.
And to be honest, I think it's for that kind of stuff. It's do we want it there or not?
Yeah. Do you are you willing? So
If it's going to get there, hopefully. Can I make more money if I give it to this guy that should get it there versus this guy that should get it there?
and this is something we were talking about last weekend. Is that ability to negotiate?
Yep.
As an owner operator, you ought to be able to say, "Hell no, I'm not taking that load."
Yep. So, but that rocket stove,
Yep.
I can't sell for twice as much just because I want twice as much because I have
But is it
5 years.
But is it worth twice as much?
Is the code that you developed worth twice as much
Depending
after
upon-
20 years?
No.
No.
No, hold on.
Your knowledge on the code.
Is the... So code isn't a consistent value.
Sure. Okay.
Security isn't a consistent value. So somebody that's adding and deleting users early on, probably not complex is what they're doing. Those of you guys doing that job, don't hunt me down and hurt me.
No, yeah, we're not trying to start fights.
But
except here.
But the complex, building that complex structure is. So somebody that's writing, I'm going to assign a fairly straightforward piece of code to somebody that's right out of college. I'm going to assign a much more complex coding task to somebody that's got 20 years in.
Sure.
And I'm going to expect, because that code has more value to me. So I'm willing to pay more for that code, and I'm going to assign that to somebody that's more experienced to do that work. Now, I will guarantee that in a lot of IT shops, they look at who do I have doing that work?
Sure.
And do I need to have, and what are the grade levels that I need to have in an IT shop? And am I overpaying? And this is where layoffs occur. I mean, this is it happens where you're looking at that staff list and you're going, I don't need that many coders at that level. I reorganize. That happens.
Sure.
So that conversation does occur. And we've been at this an hour.
Yeah, we have over an hour. So
okay.
This is again great.
So let's take away with this, because we need to wrap this
For sure.
and then we can do this again.
Yep.
Based on your comments, and take shots at either of us. I'm used to it. It's part of my job. One of the things in my job is having people be willing to yell at me. It happens a lot.
Yep.
So let's take this, is that there is a perceived value, but I'm going to say people on the outside look at some of those fields without thinking about what is that depth of that entry level to more professional to I'm going to senior individual, and what does that look like? And it's not. We have to stratify that.
Sure, 100%.
The technical term.
And this is where kind of, then this was just kind of a general overall kind of why.
But if we stay with it, which we didn't do, because good luck to that.
Yeah, right.
Is that if we were to stay for people within their first 2 or 3 years, but the component is I'm not hiring somebody in most professional fields for that. The only value I'm going to get out of them is that first 2 years. I'm hiring somebody with that expectation of what I'm going to want them to do, and that ability to do that at 5 to 10 years in.
And my kind of coming into this was, is there a kind of a gap that I've seen, or it looks like there is, because in the white collar jobs, there's really no hard product, so it's hard to there's no physical product for an end customer.
That's
versus blue collar, there's almost always a physical job or physical product that has to get purchased, and that has a set value and a set buy rate.
And I think that's a valid comment, because to be honest, unless I'm in a consulting field.
Sure.
If I'm in a consulting field, then yes. But in the traditional office job, it's a perceived value that I damn well better be sensitive to if I'm doing my job.
Yep, and just like the company that you were in failed because couldn't meet.
Yep. That's one of those things.
Things happen.
Yep.
That happens a lot.
Yep.
More than we know.
Yep. And so that's a component that we have to understand.
So,
we can please make some comments on this, so we can maybe have something a little more or less focused.
Yeah, or something we missed.
Yeah. Because I'll guarantee we've missed it, because we've been all over the place.
100%.
And we've been here long enough that my glasses are no longer have a tint.
Right.
That's when we know we're done, because my glasses lost their tint.
Now I can time that.
All right, guys.
Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and happy trails.
And throw rocks at us as necessary, because if nothing else, that gives you a chance to reduce your stress.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
Feel free to rant on the comments.
100%.
We're okay with that. So.
Pick a limb, settle in, let the story begin. Make yourself home while we wander and roam. We stay on one branch or we leap to the next, following the trail through the simple and complex. Just father and son, having some fun. Follow the trail, see where it leads. A little wonder is all that you need. Chasing the light on a squirrely ride.